name is Chuck Johnston, and I've been asked to do a little short video answering some of the questions that were commonly asked about shutters. The list has a number of different questions. What are shutters made of? What are plantation shutters? What determines louver size? What are framing options? What if I already have beautiful window casing? What about insulation qualities? Are shutters blackout window treatments? What does double hung mean? What are poly shutters and what does extrusion mean? What are composite shutters? What are vinyl wrap shutters? Do wood shutters warp and crack? Do vinyl shutters warp and crack? Do vinyl frames hold up? Can wood shutters get wet or can vinyl shutters get wet? And lastly, what does a lifetime warranty really mean? So the first question, what are shutters made of? Most of the shutters today, probably 90%, are made out of basswood. Sometimes there's a mixture of basswood and poplar. They'll use poplar on tilt rods because poplar is a little denser wood and has a tendency to hold the staple a little bit better. Other woods have been pine, oak, cedar, and mahogany. Don't see too much pine anymore. Pine has a problem with sap. Even after it's finished, there can still be some sap leakage, and that is always, of course, a problem. Cedar is probably the best wood of all, cedar and mahogany, although they're the two most expensive woods. What are plantation shutters? Plantation shutter is really just a term meaning large louver. It would be any shutter commonly at 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5. What determines louver size? Louver size is usually determined by the size of the window. Secondly, the furnishings in the room. The 2.5 and the 3.5 louver have a traditional feel to them because they've been used so often in traditional and transitional environments. Often when you have a larger louver like the 4.5 or even the 5.5, it starts to have a contemporary feel. What are framing options? Framing options would basically be the design of the frame, the thickness of the frame, whether it's like a designer frame or just a plain L frame. Mounting would be like inside mount or outside mount. The alternative would be what we call a Z-strip. A Z-strip is kind of a combination between inside and outside mount. What if I already have beautiful window casings? Well, in that case, we always try to do an inside mount. Sometimes we're limited by the size of the casing in the window. There's not enough room for louver clearance. We can often then use the Z-strip to move the panel a little bit further out, which is better for louver clearance. And there's a few other little tricks that we can use. What about insulation qualities? Insulation qualities on shutters are great. We have yet to find a better treatment, whether it's a wood blind or a vertical or solar shades. Shutters are hands away the best insulators. Are shutters blackout window treatments? No, shutters are not blackout window treatments. There's always going to be some light leakage between the ends of the louvers and the stiles and the rails. What does double hung mean? Double hung shutter is a shutter where the panel essentially has a divider somewhere near the middle, and that divider gets ripped in half, and then we put a separate set of hinges on it. That way you can open and fold back the top panels, leaving the bottom panels closed, or vice versa. What are poly shutters? Poly shutter is essentially made out of a material of polyvinyl and resin. It's mixed together in large vats, and then under extreme heat and pressure, it's formed into boards and made into various home products and, of course, shutters. What are composite shutters? A composite shutter is usually a shutter that is a mixture of solids and plywood. Usually, and most always, the cases in the solids are what we call ends. There are a lot of ends that are finger jointed together and mixed with plywood in order to keep the cost down. What are vinyl wrap shutters? A vinyl wrap shutter is a shutter that has a sheet of the polyvinyl heat shrunk to it, to that profile. Do wood shutters warp and crack? Yes, they will. It's unusual that we get it. If it's a good wood shutter, it's always kiln dried, and that eliminates that problem. Do vinyl shutters warp and crack? Vinyl shutters can warp and crack. Usually it's the ones that have either a wood center, where the panel itself is made out of wood, whether it's plywood or another material. It just doesn't have the strength of solid wood with good joinery, so you do have some, usually it's just joint breakdown. Do vinyl shutters warp and crack? Okay, do vinyl frames hold up? Vinyl frames will hold up. They don't have the holding power with the screws that wood does, so it's generally always a better idea to use a wood frame with a poly shutter. Can wood shutters get wet? Wood shutters should not get wet, especially if it's a lacquer finish. Most domestic shutter manufacturers usually have a paint warranty of about 1 to 2 years. Sometimes you'll see 3. But once the shutters, if they get wet, it actually voids the warranty. Do vinyl frames hold up? Let's see. How can vinyl shutters get wet? Excuse me. Vinyl shutters can get wet. That's probably the redeeming quality of the vinyl shutters. They're excellent to use in showers and baths and kitchen sinks where there's lots of water or steam. It just doesn't hurt them at all. It's an excellent product for that. What does lifetime warranty really mean? I know some manufacturers they sell their vinyls as their shutters as having a lifetime warranty. There really isn't such a thing. The case has gone to court, and the courts have deemed that the lifetime of a shutter is 25 years. I want to thank you for watching. If you have any other questions you'd like to ask, please feel free to email us at shuttersdirectonline@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you just as quickly as we can. Thank you.